Testing, testing, there we go. Hello everyone, welcome to Athena Games X-Wing Miniatures Game stream Wave 9 unboxing video. And we've got Wave 9 in stock, people. It's the release day. And so we're here to do an unboxing and a talk through of what we think are the best ships, and also give you probably a show of those ships in question. My name's Elliot Baker, and I'm with me in the booth. I have David Lincoln, Chris Turner, and Chris Yules.
I've returned.
Returning from the Armada video. So let's
The king has returned.
so let's move
Live the king.
let's move on,
Live the king.
everyone, to the opening. Hello, hello.
I feel.
I need a
I looked ludicrous.
Yes,
Should have made me prepare and everything.
it's the
I
largest.
brushed my hair.
The largest I've ever
That's
seen.
about as much as you can
You
get.
brushed your hair.
I'm gonna brush my hair.
I should have shaved. But there you
I should have shaved.
go.
Excuse me, Elliot.
Yeah.
It's like scales.
Trying to move the camera out of the
it's
way.
like-
Yeah.
We have
Clean
wave.
face.
We have wave 9.
Woo!
You know.
Yes. They're all like neatly placed. Well, they're all meant to be neatly placed together, but like the camera's not really picking them. They've already got one of those. Remove.
No.
Yeah. If I do that, that'll be better. There you go. Look at that. Look at all those.
Now, before we actually begin the unboxing, although Yules is way ahead of us because he got his stuff early today and he's way ahead. He's way
Stuck
ahead.
at 3. It's like,
This
ooh,
guy's
take
been
my money.
this guy's been unopened, but that's okay.
So we've got all lists. To
We
present
have
to
all got lists.
which we're going to present to the audience, and we're going to give you in the Squadron Builder, so you guys can overlook the lists as you kind of watch us go through the unboxing. And the idea is, throughout tonight's event, as we are unboxing, we want you to vote for the 2 lists you want to see face off against each other at the end of the unboxing. So let's start off with, let's go round the table, starting with me. My list is featuring the TIE SF, the TIE Special Forces, or the Special Forces TIE, however you want to say it. And if I pull up my little handy-dandy little doodad, I can post the link to that list in question. Share, web link. Da-da-da.
All of the clicking.
All of the clicking. Hopefully
We like
as
clicking.
much.
That's
Elliot,
That's
is
mine.
that's Auction Economy.
Oh, that's Archer Economy. That's there.
Wait, that's not yours.
So do you want to rewind that? Let me go first, then, Elliot. Is that
You
so
go,
you
you
go
go,
on
you
first.
go first, David.
So I think
Elliot,
our
is
feet.
it, are you
So if
sure
I
the
move
mic's
that, so if I
working?
move that one instead.
Are you sure the mic is working? I'm pretty sure, yeah, because I can see
Yeah,
the
yeah.
flops on there.
Sweet.
Who's
So-
in the chat then? Let's have a look in the chat. Let's first address that. We have Cavalier22, seen him before. Jav Alpha. Hey Robin, how you doing? And X-Wing Magala.
Yeah.
Malgala.
Malgala.
You
It's
made
all
a
good.
better job
It's
of
all
that
good.
than I would.
So,
So, as you guys all very much know, I'm a huge Rebels fan. So when I saw the Arc 170, my eyes sort of glinted a little bit, and there's a good reason why. When it started off in the first release, it made it quite clear that there was going to be 6 green maneuvers. So what we've got is the banks and straights, speed 1 and 2 are all green. The rest of the dial looks fairly sort of normal, but you've got a hard, three hards, 4 straights, and the 4K turn is red. So it's a fairly open dial in that regard. But yeah, nice little pretty ship. I quite like that. It looks even better now in the flesh than it did on the screen. It always makes it look better.
Yeah,
anyway.
so in your list you have the Arc
It's
170.
allowed to come
Yeah,
out of
so all this point was featured. We had to use at least one ship from the wave.
Yes, you had to at least use the ship from that faction.
Yeah.
In the wave.
So
Guys.
so for me, obviously, it was the Arc 170. So what I saw with this when it first came out was an idea of using quite a lot of actions, and as you guys know from lists I've built in the past, actions is what I like.
Action economy is one of the key factors of X-Wing.
Yeah, it is. And so the Arc 170 I've chosen is Shera Bay. Shera Bay is a nice pilot because of her ability. It means that any...
Well, we'll get to what
Okay.
the actual lists are, what the upgrades and things do soon.
Okay.
Just present us the list as it is, which is Sarah Bay.
So
with
Shera Bay with
R2D2.
R2D2, Push the Limit, Weapons Engineer, and Alliance Overhaul, which is the new
title, which we'll get into. You've also got Ascend,
Ascend, just with Recon Specialist, so pretty bare and naked in that regard, so no turret.
Dutch Vander.
Dutch Vander with my typical TLT and R7 combo for Y-Wings.
All right, and that's your list.
Yes.
Mine is, I call it Quick Draws Aces. It's a very simple list. I made it. I've been crafting it probably the last couple of days.
You made it very quickly, did you?
I don't know how to make it very quickly. It's just I'm not sure if it's any good. I was going to call it the potential backfail, but of course it doesn't fit with the name. So simply Quick Draw's Aces. It's Quick Draw with Stay on Target, Electronic Baffle, Sensor Cluster, and Special Ops Training. That's the kind of... It has most of the upgrades that it comes with, or at least utilize them in some way. With Syntofel, the standard Syntofel, we know what Fel does, and a Glaive Squadron Pilot, because I need a bit of power in there, as well as Fel. So very simple list. Quick Draw, Stay on Target, Electronic Baffle, Sensor Cluster, Special Ops Training, Syntofel with standard Roll Guard, Push the Limit, Auto Thrusters, and I've actually put Twin Ion Engine on him, because I need a point somewhere, and I need to keep the points to the Glaive, so the Glaive Squadron Pilot with X7 to give me some focus tokens when I perform high-speed maneuvers. So that's that list. Mr. Turner, what's your list?
So, I've been assigned the big boy. I've been assigned the Shadowcaster. I think me and Yules have kind of done similar things. I focus more on the Shadowcaster, he's focused more on the Starfighter, but we'll get to that in a moment. Mine is called Stressed Out. And there's a very good reason for that, for it utilises the new pilot Asajj Ventress. She is, it has an innate ability of being able to stress people, but we'll get to that later. She is appropriately accompanied by 2 Concord Dawns, so 2 Protectorate Starfighters. So I'm basically showcasing off everything, but mainly focusing on the Shadowcaster itself.
And that's quite interesting about both your lists, because both your lists use the 2 new Scum ships, because you two have made Scum lists to basically show off the Scum side of things. And we did that because they both can be flied very differently. And you two have kind of gone for that in a weird way. So
as I said, I've focused more on the Shadowcaster and what she can do. You focus more on the Protectorate and what it can do.
Yeah.
what's
so,
your list?
Yeah, so mine. We got Sabine Wren in the Lancer Pursuit Craft, so Shadowcaster, to give it its proper name. Or, not Lancer, it's technical proper name. But anyway, I am digressing. It's got Recon. So, Sabine Wren's ability is, if someone's in my mobile firing arc at range 1 or 2, I get to add a focus result to my roll, which is pretty cool. So I've gone for Recon Specialist because I've got a decent evade, and if I'm adding focus results, I want to make use of them. And then I got two more Dawn Protectorates, so none of the named characters sadly today. And they've gone for the classic Interceptor A-Wing build, which is Push Limit. Their title, because why would you not have a title? It's a really good title, as I've just seen, because I literally just played a game. It's pretty damn good. And then they've got Auto Thrusters.
Okay.
A lot of turrets going on.
So, why don't we get started? I think we should start with probably the lowest one, which I think people are considering, which is the humble TIE SF, the Special Forces. Which, I'm having to say, from what we've seen of it, it looks to be like this is the one which people are kind of...
We have got two, by the
We
way.
have got
Chris
two.
has got his,
Yes.
and we've got Elliot's got his now.
I couldn't help
Now unboxing with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, which is now unboxing with a pair of scissors.
Kids, if you're using scissors, please be safe.
Yes, have an adult with you at all times.
Please do. We are not responsible for any injuries you may sustain while...
Well,
While
Fair
unboxing
these.
while watching this stream.
Yes,
If you have chosen to unbox with us.
if you've chosen to unbox with us, then most likely people would have, as soon as they got hold of them, unboxed them like you. Because
let's face it, shiny new toys.
showing
right?
you I would have done the exact same.
Right,
I won't lie,
so-
I've done the exact same.
Elliot, why don't you take us through what the dials like to start with, since that's the first thing that sort of comes out of the box.
Yeah, it's
really.
very apparent to you. So the
There you go.
TIE SF dial, it's not manoeuvrable. It's all its straights are white or green. We got a 1 forward, a 2 forward, and a 3 forward, which are green. So it's it can do green speed up to 3, which is not bad for a TIE fighter. But its 4 is white, has no speed 5 maneuver, which is unusual for a TIE fighter as well. So it is what it is. Afternoon there, King Jimp. Welcome to the show. Also doesn't like turning for a TIE fighter. It has a 1 hard turn, which is red.
It's a very untie like a TIE fighter
Yeah,
like TIE fighter.
Its 2 turn is white, which is nice. So at least
Yeah.
it can turn around effectively.
Yeah.
And it's got a 3 turn, which is also red. So it's an average turning thing, but it can't turn hard and it can't turn.
Show the camera. This is just hold up
Yes,
the camera. I
I'll
guess.
hold
It'll
up
be
the camera, there we go.
They
It's
can
a
sort
quick-
of see.
Yeah. I
I've
think
got
actually
focus.
looking at it, I've just actually thought about it. It's a bit like having the attack shuttle dial.
It's got the
similar.
signals loop, which is nice.
It has got the signals. Which
Three signals as well.
Three signals, which is quite cool.
It does miss a K-turn, which is very interesting because even the TIE FO, which had signals, had
the K.
K-turns. So it's very unusual to see a ship that doesn't have a K-turn and just has signals.
Yeah, but the real question is, are you really going to use? Because when we look into the actual ship, obviously, because this is one of the arcs are a big thing for Wave 9. So this one's got a rear arc, like the
Arc 170.
Arc 170. Very correct.
We call this the arc wave. When I
arc
say
wave.
arc, it's ARC arc, not like arc ones or anything like that. In terms of
Very
your
confusing.
firing arcs. So they've kind of gone with the basis of we're going to focus more on firing arcs and how they work. These are the first two small ships to have rear or auxiliary firing arcs.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting to point out.
I was wondering if we could go over the plastic swag.
Yes, we can go over the piece itself. Honestly, let's face it. When we first looked at this thing looked pretty boring. It
I
was a
don't know.
bog standard. It used the bog standard TIE fighter
He knows what he's doing. I don't.
model, but it had a slight remold via the little antenna on the side, and if Elliot can just whip it around,
The little...
he's got a little rear window.
It's got a little rear window and two
And-
very
and
If,
the-
if,
and the
if
red
the camera
cannon.
will focus, yeah, and it's
There
got a
we
little
go.
cannon at the bottom, which is cool. You know, it's doing what the cinema was, or the cinema representation of it was, which looked.
To be fair, although we've seen this profile TIE quite a lot, you know, the old kind of H shape with the cockpit and the two big panel wings. However, there are slight differences in the TIE designs, which is, you know, the cogs that are the connectors to the wings, the sensor array aerial, of course the gunner pod at the
Is
back.
it slightly wider?
It is slightly wider as well, just ever so slightly.
I am honestly a little disappointed because if you actually look at this is just going off a basis of comparing it to the film version to this version. The white panels on the side, as you can see, they're reusing the original TIE Fighter wings from the model. But actually, if you look at the film, they're meant to be just completely flat. They're not meant to have the rigid lines.
I'm not sure about that. I'll have to rewatch the film.
Rewatch the film, honestly. I believe
maybe
that's correct.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
So I'm a little disappointed
yeah.
that they didn't just flatten off the edges to make it look.
To be fair, I actually think they would have done that, especially since they're paying so much detail to little
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
So I actually think that maybe you're misremembering.
Maybe I
you
misremember
are,
it, but
who knows?
I don't know.
The model is gorgeous.
No, I distinctly remember. As I said, I'm a little disappointed, but other than that, I agree with every change they made. The cogs look cool on the inside. I like the. Okay, if you turn it around and you show its backside, that's the bit I like of the model. I like the
There we
model's
go.
It's the side
backside.
that you don't want to
He
see.
said it. I didn't.
Let's put
I
Let's
like
watch
the
you raise
model's
it.
backside. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
So let's put the model back in there, and so we've looked at the model. The model, it looks fantastic. I think it's great. I'm a big fan of FFG's models. That's why I got
It's
into
an
this
X-wing
game.
model. It's
It's
I didn't have to paint it. And it looks like that. Yeah. So, I said it's another very well executed model. It's possible that they have actually remade the wings, Chris, because it looks like the cogs are.
Well, I
actually
mean,
part
they've
of
really remade the
panels.
cogs, but I think the wing panels themselves have been maybe reused. I'm not sure.
and of course you have the
It's what it looks like.
standard kind of token packs which you get with these
spread.
things, which is worth noting. They have redesigned the bases slightly to account for the small base auxiliary firing arc, because of course at the bottom they usually have a large display for the ship's stats. However, for this one they've actually put it in line with the auxiliary firing arc, so that there's no
apologise.
mistaking if the camera.
If
So
the
they've-
camera would
They've
be lovely to us. in
bunched
focus.
everything up so they could fit the name and have the actual firing arc. Because if you played X-wing, you know that's really.
I would
difficult
also
thing to
like to point
figure out how to use.
out, they've managed to do a great job with the little panel piece you get when you
Oh,
put
yeah,
it
that's
on
really
the special dial packs
They've
you get.
yes
They've added in obviously the little antenna, but obviously you're not going to notice that. So they've added in this little black sort of line that
Which
corresponds
symbolises-
with the symbolizers of the red line they have
Yeah.
on the TIE Fighter,
To denote
which
the-
I like.
really nice.
That's
I-
a really nice touch.
When I made
you
the
know.
overlay, I made a similar thing, but I just used the original time model, but I added the stripe of red.
Yeah.
So it's very small to distinguish between the two.
Yeah, and it's
types.
more like on a full on instead of like a side on shot. It's like full on
Yeah.
frontage shot. Forgetting all the words for that.
But yeah, one thing which people comment is that in the film, Poe says this thing really moves, and its top speed is 4, and TIE, I think an X70 can go T70 can go at speed
4 as well.
as well. So people say, well, how's it different? And my argument is because X-wing is very broad.
I was gonna say, see, here's the thing: X-wing.
It's
very
simplified down.
Simplified down
You know?
version. Honestly, if you were gonna say anything about it, it still can really
Yeah,
move.
'cause-
It's just you're gonna get a little bit stressed if you
To
do
be fair,
that.
he could be talking about the acceleration speed of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And
anyway,
also, maybe if you look at the dial as well, there's more manoeuvres on here than there is on the T70.
well, actually, T70
You
got to
the
3
hards.
green as well.
No, you've got the hards. You've got the one hards.
Yeah,
You don't
the
have
one
those.
hards
That's
and
true.
Stuff,
for
yeah.
Ts.
Anyway, let's get on to the actual pilots, and let's start with the generics, which we have the Zeta Specialist. So I'm going to move over here and just quickly show the card.
The Zeta Specialist is a just to give you the bog standard results for you guys. We have a pilot skill 3. Well, this one's a pilot skill 3. It has 2 attack. It has 2 defense, 3 shields, and 3 hulls. So it's pretty decent. 23 points. Actually, relatively okay for an upgraded TIE fighter. I like to call it.
And it's got a nice little bar as well.
It's got a nice little bar as well. Good
So
accents.
yeah, because of the stat, let's go over the stats. So yeah, it's pretty much a standard TIE with 3 shields.
Yeah.
But it has lost a point of agility, which does affect its survivability, methinks.
But
a
it
little
does
bit.
have 2 extra shields.
It does have 2 extra
here's
shields.
The thing is, it's gained 2 extra shields, lost an agility, but also gained a few extra things to compensate for that. For the fact that it's now it can fire missiles. TIE fighters could not fire missiles before.
That is true.
And it's also gained a
Sensors.
sensor slot. So to compensate
There's,
for the lack of an agility, it's gained extra equipment.
Yes, yours.
Yeah. By the way, in my head, that's where the point's going. You've got a sensor slot, and they always like to tax you for sensor slots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
E-wings come to mind when you say that.
Oh yes. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
let's talk about it. It's a 3 pilot skill generic at 23 points.
That can take a sensor slot.
Yeah.
That's
That could take a
the
slot.
only other thing
It's-
I can think of that can do that is a Lambda class shuttle.
It's 2 more points than I think a Lambda, the Omicron,
the
and
Omicron is
for a rookie pilot as well.
Yeah.
Or an X-wing rookie pilot.
So, you're getting a small ship with a sensor slot, so yeah, 23 points is pretty actually okay.
It's
I think
not
that's pretty spot on,
Yeah,
actually.
what do you guys think?
Sorry, Dave.
Like I
go
say,
ahead.
I like that. For me, you could quite easily compensate that 1 loss of agility for one of our favourite sensors at the moment, Sensor Jammer.
Sensor jammer would be very
Sensor
effective.
jammer,
in-
or I wouldn't put a sensor jammer on a Widdy player. I'll probably put a fire control system, honestly, utilise on the attack side of things.
We'll say we've got one coming up that's probably going on these bad boys.
yes. Which you can actually see my list if you want to see how I've utilised the upgrade bar off the tire. So, moving on, we've got the Omega Specialist as well, which is it's worth noting they are special forces because they have got points higher. So the second generic is pilot skill 5 for 25 points. So you can get 4 of these in one list if you wanted to run just the bare.
Just the bare minimum.
someone's
bog
gotta do it.
standard.
Someone's got to do it.
Or
Someone's
another
gonna do
another
it.
idea.
You know
Pilots,
someone's
easy
gonna do
number.
it.
4 of them.
Or another idea, you could then try and use 3 Zetas with fire control systems for the same points as well.
Yeah, but then you're losing out pilot skill, which in this age where you have glaives and royal guards.
That doesn't matter if you're rolling up with 3 contracted scouts.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, but
Let's move
Dave,
on.
yeah.
Dave,
Let's move
Let's
on.
let's
gonna
let's
say
move
that.
on quick. The other
They-
interesting
they
point
put
of
fire
note
out.
to say about the Omega Specialist is it has to take it's the generic that can take the elite pilot talent.
It can take an
It's
APT.
it's the so for basically 2 extra points than to the other one, you're not only getting a pilot skill 5, you're also getting a generic with an EPT, which seems to be the big running theme of recent ships recently. That they're now giving more generics an EPT.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
another thing as well is you could give it adaptability as a positive to make
Yeah,
it
exactly.
6.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, it's versatile.
That'll run
I
up
like
with,
that.
that'll run up points. Oh, sorry, pilot skill
or
wise with
4
glaives.
technically if you want to go down.
Now we get to my favourite part of what makes X-Wing X-Wing, and that's the unique pilots. Because I love unique pilots in this game, and I think if you're running with just generics, you kind of lose out on something every now and then. Let's get with the first one, Backdraft. Now, here's the one I originally wanted to design for.
I was gonna say I think this guy's my favorite. This guy. If I was gonna have a favorite of the ties, this guy's my favorite.
Let's get there. Backdraft. TIE SF. When attacking a ship inside your auxiliary firing arc, you may add 1 critical result. Just bam, a critical.
Just. Oh, you're in my rear arc. Oh, I missed. Oh, but it's still okay. I get crit.
It makes it a 2 forward attack ship and a 3 rear attack ship, technically
Like,
speaking.
yeah.
But yeah, close the door. Yeah, he's got an EPT. He's pilot skill 7. He's pilot skill 7, and yeah, that's a great ability, especially for the auxiliary firing arc.
Yes.
It means that
basically, you know what I'm like. I'm a big lover of Cat Scarlet. I love the fact I can get the plus 1 attack die on a radio. So it's basically another ship that allows me to get another attack die, but it's not another attack die. It's a straight off crit.
also it's a crit.
That's fantastic.
It's a crit. That's
And it's my favourite number.
And
7.
and speaking of Kath Scarlet, you might have something later to talk about her again.
Oh,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there when we get there.
For
I like
reference,
that.
27 points.
Yeah,
Backdraft.
27 points. So 2 extra points. You get another two things. And
Two pilot skill and
ability. So, you know, that's pretty darn
Quite a
decent.
nice, quite a nice picture as well.
Pretty
Two
darn
things.
decent. Oh, I love the picture as well.
The artwork in this game is generally very good. There are a few duds, like Gold Squadron Pilot.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You know, there are winners and there are losers.
When you say artwork, this is my favourite one for artwork.
Yes, Quick Draw. Now, this is the one I've designed my list around. Quick Draw's got the same stats as it's a TIE SF. He's pilot skill 9, so that's very effective. He's 29 points to buy, so he's the same cost as Wedge Antilles.
He's also the same cost as Soontiff Fell as well.
Exactly.
So
Hopefully he's just as good. Let's find out. Once per round, when you lose a shield token, you may perform a primary weapon attack.
this was a big thing. Basically, you either have to shield strip him in one turn, or you're going to be taking ludicrous amounts of attacks from him.
Or you potentially accept one and then deal with the rest of the shields in the rest of the round.
Yeah. So basically, you've got to try and basically either shield strip him in one round,
Keep out
if
of
you
arc.
can. If you can.
I like him.
He has a cool ability. I believe one of the showcases they did was, I'm going to fly him through an asteroid. Yeah, I'm not going to take an action. Oh no, I took a damage. Oh, I lose a shield. Oh, but I get to attack this guy that's in front of me.
Thing is, that is still playing the odds that you could get a damage, which
It's a 50-50.
yeah.
But that's still a cool tactic.
It's
know?
interesting that
That's-
we got to a stage where you're hoping for a hit on asteroids.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well,
That's the weird thing, you know.
To be fair, people are saying, "Oh, this is not really a great ability because there's only 3 shields. He gets 3 pops of it, and if someone takes a shield in one go, that's it." It's like, yes,
But it's still one
it's
extra
an extra
attack that could
attack,
put you in a better position.
And
That's the thing.
when designing my list, I had the same mentality as when you put Biggs Darklighter in a list. Quick Draw is going to die. It doesn't matter how long it takes. He's going to die eventually. That's his whole thing. The point is, how much can you utilize that ability in the amount of time he's alive?
I think that's kind of why I prefer Backdraft, because I like a ship that can stick around. That's the trouble.
That is true.
But then again, that's what you get in X-Wing. You get people that prefer different playstyles. You get the people who like Big Starklighter that generally know he's going to die, but that's okay. But then you get the people that like to utilize their ships for as long as possible to try and get something, as much out of them as they possibly can, before they kick the bucket.
Yes, yours?
Yeah. Sorry, go backdraft. Yeah. When he was spoiled, it was like, yeah, he's kind of a bit like Dengar, but not quite as good. But was thinking about him yesterday, obviously thinking about this, and it dawned on me: there's plenty of ways in X-Wing to give you a 1 damage for a bonus, like draw their fire. So that's EPT. You can take a crit, is it, onto yourself?
You can divert a crit. Yes.
Or if you've seen an Elites list, he's using Baffle to give himself 1 damage. So I don't think that if you can play him in a way where he doesn't die, if you can work out a way to get him into have 2 ships, one in the front and one in the rear, and as we'll talk about, that's kind of what these guys want to do. You can easily sort of mitigate the damage, maybe like throw stealth device on him. There's an upgrade that we'll look at in a moment that could help you keep stealth device. So maybe he's sort of more TIE-esque with 2 agility rather than special forces. Maybe shoot him that way. It's all about managing your resources. Shields are resources, same as vague dice. All that
yeah,
stuff.
I completely agree with you.
I will say, it's a shame they missed one thematic thing about this ship, and it's the fact that it can't take a crew slot. Obviously, there's been two not. It's like in the films,
No,
you know, there were 2.
Let's discuss this.
That's just what we're here for.
Everyone's saying, "Oh, why doesn't it have a crew slot?"
Oh, it was just a
And
general
I
question.
know, no.
you know?
That it's generally what I've seen from the community is that people say, "Oh, Sabine's tie gets a crew slot. Why doesn't the Special Forces have a crew slot?"
Yeah.
There's a very good reason for that. The TIE SF is designed to have a gunner and a pilot.
Yeah.
And the gunner is gunning.
Is
Gunning. Now, the Arc has a crew slot and has an auxiliary firing arc because that has a crow pilot slot and a gunner and actually a gunner in the actual fluff.
Yeah.
So there actually is a slot where someone could sit. Now, when you equip like tail gunner, which we'll get into, that is simply saying you've buffed you've got an expert tail gunner, not that. If you didn't have tail gunner, you don't have a gunner in the back.
So basically, the way you see it is that the auxiliary firing arc is essentially the second person.
The second
Yeah,
person.
that makes sense. I was just generally thinking that because one of the best ways I would have said to utilize quick draw would have probably been Darth Vader. Which is, I know, is a very weird way of looking at it.
But you'd lose half of your choice.
But you get if anyone shoots you for a couple of rounds, you get 2 goes with Darth Vader.
But you are sacrificing 2 shields to
And
do
you'd all
that.
be on one hull.
that's
so you'd
the
have to
only
shield
thing. But
upgrade
then again,
before
as you
hit it.
said, quick draw is one of those people that's going to die eventually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
playing on that would have been.
I'm not saying
Fantastic.
just quick draw. Other ones.
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
I agree.
Okay.
As I said, it
Yeah.
different opinions.
What do you guys think?
The thing with adding a crew slot in, as we talked about with the sensor slot, it's another.
It's
thing
one of those
they're gonna
things that's
charge you
going to
for.
charge you for. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so for
and
quick draft, I'd say quick
like-
draft would probably be 30, 31 before you even start.
Yeah.
I have already when this was announced, I wasn't really interested in it. As you can see now, I've actually bought
He's got one.
one of the things. But yeah, I was comfortable with throwing points at a tie. I never am. It's like ties are there to. It's like headhunters. Ties are there. They're there to die, or they live to the end and just become amazing, and kill everything. But yeah, I wouldn't be fine with. It'd have to be something really, really good, something really cheap, like a cheap crew to throw in there. But I perfectly understand why it doesn't have one. Shame it doesn't.
Yeah.
But meh.
It's a balanced thing, not a fluff thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's more of a balance reason rather than a fluff thing.
But who
It's
knows?
a little bit of a shame, but then again, it's they do that the best way they can by giving it the auxiliary firing slot,
Yeah.
which to be fair is still pretty cool.
Yeah, another thing, that's probably why the dial is the way it is.
Yes.
It's a balance reason.
It's a
It's a
balance
game
reason,
after
yeah.
all. We can't have everything that, because I'll bring an example up, which is the Hawk. The Hawk's supposed to be really, really good at flying, and it's not. It's rubbish.
Yeah, that is true.
It's completely-
There you go.
It's supposed to fly like a fighter, yeah. It flies
Let's
like a freighter.
face it. They've already said they made a couple mistakes with that ship,
With the attack.
with the
dice.
attack
Attack
dice
dice.
and stuff. But
No.
There we
last,
go.
last night I played a game with it and ended up with a 1 dice TLT shot. It happened.
it happened. To be
Yeah.
fair, there's been plenty of times I've done a 1 dice attack, I've hit, and they've not even evaded it. So the Hawk is still that ship that just surprises
Yeah,
everyone.
it does. Anyway, let's move on to the upgrades.
Let's move on to the
Yeah.
upgrades.
I think we should start with the title, which is
Yeah.
very important,
Yes.
I think. Now, here's what it is. It's called Special Force Ops Training. Why don't you read it, Jules? While I show
Okay,
the
so
camera.
Special Force TIE SF only title. When attacking with a primary weapon from your primary firing arc, you may roll 1 additional attack dice. If you do not, you may perform an additional attack from your auxiliary firing arc. 0 points.
Interesting idea. Would that mean that quick draw, if quick draw was to go bam bam on his
Yes.
retaliation,
Yes.
Yeah, so Quick Draw
Ooh.
potentially has
4
damage if he's at range
Yeah.
2 or range 3.
Which is
range
why everyone.
So it's
I feel
a
like
lot.
people miss that in terms of the fact that obviously they looked at the card itself but didn't look at the upgrade that come with it, and I
Yeah.
think that's why people sort of miss the point. But when you look at the upgrade card with it, suddenly it's just like, oh my god, there's so much potential you could put with
it's
this.
the same
I-
with the arc.
I like this because it's free, so it doesn't cost you anything. So it's basically was built in to give the ship a bit extra anyway, rather than having to add text to all the cards.
It's one of those things as well. It's one of the first ones. I say that carefully to be free as a title. You've got the Ghost. I know you've got the Ghost.
Royal
Attack
Guard-
Shuttle
Royal
one,
Guard.
the Royal
Royal
Guard.
Yeah.
Guard.
You know,
Uh,
we don't.
A-Wing
this
Test
is
Pilot.
not. This is not
There's
the
lots of free
first.
ones.
This is not
Not
the
the first,
first.
but it's
It's a very effective title.
I like it. I like where they're taking it because of this card, especially more majority of this card. I like where they're taking the game because
Yeah.
they're giving you sizable options of what you can do. It's like I can attack with 3 dice, or I can attack the guy behind me and the guy in front of me.
That's also why I like it because
Yeah.
it's choice. It adds choice. It's like, I've got choice to get extra attack. So basically, you'll always benefit no matter what,
Yes.
in
Yes.
some regard, which is
And
nice.
if you're a skill pilot and you can do that 2 out the front or 3 out the front at range 1 and 3 out the back at range 1, you're gonna feel great when you do that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like if you got backdrops.
It's one of those
like,
things
4
where
at the
it's
back,
one of those
3
things
out the
where you
front.
kind of want to be in a pincer maneuver because then you can go, oh well, cool. There's a guy in front of me, a guy behind me. I'm just going to shoot both of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We've got
Yes.
Wired. We've seen Wired before, so let's move on from Wired.
It's nice to say that Wired is in the set.
It's nice to say that Wired's the next. You can only get that in the core set, I believe.
I believe at the moment, yes.
You got lots of reds.
It's a
There
good
you go.
thing to
There you
take
go.
on it.
Yeah.
You know.
The new tech upgrade, which comes with 2 copies of that one upgrade. It's called Sensor Cluster.
Oh,
This.
When defending, you may spend a focus token to change one of your blank results into an evade. So it's kind of an insurance policy.
it's basically a backwards weapons guidance.
Well, it's weapons guns, but for evades.
Yeah.
And
That's why I call it backwards. So
think
basically, so rather than it being for attackers for evading,
Yeah.
instead, which is it's
I think it's totally worth it.
yeah.
2 points. I'll have insurance
that.
that I'll take a focus and roll blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've all done that.
I like that a lot. And T70s, man, those things are already quite hard to kill. So, bung on that.
Now this is the one that I think could change things up in the meta in general, at least minorly. Collision detection or
Think
detector.
of so many things that can use this.
When performing a boost barrel or a decloak, which it does call out decloak, your ship and maneuver template can overlap obstacles. When rolling for obstacles damage, ignore all critical results. Suddenly,
Oh my god, it is a 0-point census
it's
slot.
0 points.
Basically, if you're not taking a sensor slot, you might as well take this.
Yeah.
Unless you don't have those actions, but then if you're... Why? But then...
I think it being in the sensor slot might be its undoing.
Yes.
The only problem.
That is a very contested slot.
It's a very contested slot,
It's
but
one of
if you
the-
think about it, how many things that have sensor slots? I mean, we've been talking about the Star Viper doing okay, not very well in the recent years, but suddenly we've got a sensor that could really help it. I mean, yeah, normally you take sensor jammer or fire control system. I mean, as you said, it's a contested slot. But if you don't have... Obviously, one of the things that they say is the Star Viper's a lot of points.
Yes.
So sometimes you don't have enough points to get fire control system or sensor jammer. But this is a way to compensate for that.
Yeah.
You
agreed.
then get a way of using the Star Viper with the Virago turtle, obviously, and then giving it at least something to use,
Yeah.
and it's still being useful and effective.
Well, this is an idea that I heard from Lath a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was saying about, well, what you could do is give one of those sensors to the likes of Echo or Whisper.
Yeah.
So when you decloak with Whisper or Echo, that then makes that decloak even better. And if you take debris fields rather than standard asteroids, it's like, well, I can go through them for nothing.
I have to admit, Robert Cornell has actually stated that the TIE SF would do great with twin iron engine.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was
Which
going
Most
to say
people
that.
forget
Completely
about
forgot
that
about
engine.
upgrade. It's a really, really good upgrade.
That's a 1-point modification that basically turns all your banks into greens, and suddenly 4 of
And-
your banks just became greens.
Yeah, well, your one bank is already green.
Yeah,
But your
but then
two
your
and
2 and your
three
3
are white.
Yes.
So it gives you a bit more choice when you're doing those green, when you've done those red maneuvers.
Well, here's the thing. It was one of the things that helped the Defender out really, really nicely when it was first initially released.
Yeah.
So now it's helping yet another TIE do something more for a point, but it's helping another.
I think if you're already going down this avenue, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's admittedly I'm normally not keen on stealth device, but I think if you couple stealth device with the sensor cluster, you can make stuff happen. But if you're not, then go for it, because it's a point. Makes like expanding your greens is always great. I've spent numerous points on R2 Astromech. Bung those greens out there.
All right. To wrap up the TIE Special Forces, Elliot, out of 10, how would you rate it?
Do you know what? Knowing what comes...
Just the model
its
and
own,
everything
on
you
its
get
own,
in it.
on its
Everything you get in it and the model itself.
I'm not really a fan of a point rating system, but I would rate it fairly average.
Yeah.
It's got some nice tricks up its sleeve. I just don't know if it's survivable enough or viable enough in the competitive meta to really affect things. I still don't see it being flown more than the generic standard TIE fighter with HAL Runner and such. A TIE
Or
Swarm,
even a Mega Leader.
or a Mega Leader. A Mega Leader is so good.
Yeah.
I could see him being. I could see maybe someone being flown with a Mega Leader, but then you're spending a lot of points for a very sensitive, shall we say, build. So yeah, I say average for this build.
Yeah.
What do you say, David?
To be honest, like I said, I'm not very much took an eye to it. But you're saying about Omega Leader, so I was surprised I didn't see that in your list. Thinking about what its ability could do.
Originally it was, but
You have to make points.
I needed power.
Yeah.
I needed power. So
But for all the tricks up its sleeves, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I see it as like an Imperial way of having like the ability of an Arc 170 in a slightly different avenue. I like the fact it's got a couple of extra shields on it, which makes it a bit more health-wise, because obviously you know how much I love my Y-Wings with 8 hit points, only 1 agility dice. Meh. If that 1 agility dice rolls you evades every time, you don't care.
yeah, well, yeah, it's what it is. So it's fairly average for you, or
In terms of
Just on its own as a ship,
Just on
with
its own.
with everything it comes with. Just this.
I think in terms of what it comes with, there's not very much there in terms of the upgrade cards, which is the one thing that I think they've started to cut down on in this wave because of what else you get with it. Really, in terms of most people who've started from like your beginnings, you're going to have loads of upgrade cards already.
yeah,
It's for those that have only recently got into the game that you may struggle.
there are already some good upgrades that make this good, but on
Yeah.
its own, I think it's an okay pack. Nothing standard. Chris,
I'd probably agree with you. I think it's the weakest of this wave.
I
But
agree.
without a shadow of the doubt, it is probably the weakest of this wave, which is a shame because normally Imperials are relatively okay. They normally have a few things they're going for.
They
it.
did just get the defenders. though,
They did
so-
just get the Defender and the Bomber upgrade those, so they need something just to slow
Yeah.
them down a little bit. So this was a nice way just to say, here, have a nice, cool, unique
Cinematic.
cinematic thing that you can add and have a bit of
Yeah.
fun with.
Yeah.
Yules.
Well, I wouldn't really say that. I quite like it. I think it's interesting, and as you guys probably seen, I always like to play interesting things and have them do like I really like the idea of the double attack. I've sat there and like as I said, when it came out, wasn't really keen on it, but I thought about it and it's like maybe not the generics. I don't really see.
No.
I don't really. They don't sit. It's probably because I haven't played Imperials for very long, but I don't know where they sit in my head in terms of what I like and what I think's worth it and stuff like that. But of course, my opinions are my own. There you go. That's the world we live in. That's why I play this game because people come up with all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But I really like Backdraft. I think it's quite fun.
I like
When
Backdraft.
people start giving you results free, it's always good. I'm sure you've come across the Tide Varts and been handed your things to you. It's like, oh, you're dead now because of all of my free results that I have. But yeah, I think it's on there. I wouldn't count it out yet. I definitely think there's
You
something
never,
good.
you never count anything out. One slight modification here.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
there,
to be
then
fair,
opens the
it
ship
could
up.
get a really big thing come
Yeah,
up, and it made,
we
and
could
suddenly
see
we
it.
could see it meta.
Right.
But,
we need to
you
move
know.
on.
Cool.
Swiftly.
I think the next one we should do is obviously
The Arc.